Hey, I wanted to give you a practical way to manage your agency through lifted work. So first thing you want to do is when you pop over to the dashboard, just gives you a quick idea of what incoming client requests you have across your agency. It's a nice thing to check. And then it's also nice to check out your milestones to make sure you know what's coming up. This is across all of your clients. The other thing you might want to look at is just in a given month, how many hours of work you've assigned to your team and how many hours have been actually worked. And you can see the quantity of tasks there as well. Just it gives you a whole overview across your agency. And then down here, sometimes it's handy if you're a manager or an admin, you can pop in and see different people and how many hours you've assigned to a person over the course of a month. So you can fast forward your months here so you can see next month, this month, last month. And you can also have an easy way to see what their next 10 tasks are. So a quick update here on the dashboard. And then the client's screen is also handy. This is something you might pop into like once a month, or the client section here, because what you can do is you can see how many hours you've assigned by month. And then if you click on this little down arrow, you can see that broken down by person. So you can see how many hours have been actually executed by person, by client, and by month. So it's pretty handy for just getting your end of month stats taken care of. So on a day-by-day basis, often towards maybe the beginning of the day or the end of the day, depending on how you want to do it, is you can kind of go to your client list and just have a little quick scan to see if everything is looking good for the month. So you can see any internal updates you have. You can see any pending requests. So if you can sort by that column, you can see when the pending request took place and you can see which client it's for. Scroll over a little further, you can see tasks and stuff you have. And then these are your custom statuses. So it also makes sense to kind of use these custom filters as well. So you can pick on whatever filters you want, but it makes it really easy just for managing your clients as a whole. It's easy to miss things frequently if they're not all written down in one spot, but this screen has all your clients written down. So you can filter them by anything you want, like their ad spend, say, and it's pretty easy to find your clients that way. The other thing that you might find yourself doing is perhaps a couple times a month, you'll pop into a specific client and just make sure they're all looking pretty good on this overview screen. So you can have like a pretty long overview, just showcasing who they are, what they're about. And this follows all the tasks around. So it follows your clients for every task they have assigned to them. Your entire team gets to see the overview and the internal links. So it makes sense to have this set up and accurate. You can also look at the internal updates here and any incoming requests. So this kind of gives you a more holistic view of the whole client. You can pop into different things like the feed. You can add items to the feed, like an embed or a PDF or something here. You can see the requests there. You can manage any contacts you have for the client. You can invite new people to the client. Then you can assign what features you want to showcase on the feature page on their portal. So all you got to do is you've pre-built these and then you just click on which ones you want for what client and whether or not you want to show it as an upsell. And then you can pop over to the client portal. There's a quick link here and you can see this again. You probably want to do this maybe a couple times a month just to make sure their feed's looking pretty good. But you can see the features have been added here. You can see anything that's been an upsell as well. And this learn more links will go right to your website wherever you set up your features to go to. So yeah, it's nice to be able to pop in here once a month or so to check that out. And then the only other thing is maybe again on a day-to-day basis, you want to maybe see who's been up to what on the team. So you can click on completed and it sorts things that have been completed most recently. And then you can switch people. So you can kind of see on May 27th, this person did half an hour worth of work and they had half an hour assigned. So you can switch people and see stats that way. You can also see by client. So just by doing that, you can see all the work that's been done on a day-by-day basis. And the other thing that's kind of neat is you can search. And when you search and filter, you can see all the work that's been done. Anything to do with Google by searching for that term, and then you can see how many hours you've put in. So it's pretty handy for any sort of account record keeping, that type of thing. When you create a task, if you make sure your task template library is pretty well maintained, it could actually happen pretty quick to create a task. So a 1 hour meeting, you might want to actually keep track of that for your records for how much time you're spending by client and who you want to assign that to. When you click on it, it's right there. You have the minutes filled out and there's not really too much to do. So it's not too intrusive to kind of make it. As soon as you make it, you go right to the show screen so you can kind of see the task, see all the information about the client you've assigned it to. And when you mark it as complete, it goes right to the client's feed so they can see the spent in the meeting. And then it also adds up your numbers here so you can see how much you spent across your clients. So it's kind of nice for record keeping, that sort of thing. And the other thing you might want to use from time to time is any bulk updates. You click on that there and you can delete them. You can reassign work and you can do it on a day-by-day basis. So if someone's trying to take a holiday, you can find all the work that that person has coming up for that particular day and then just reassign it to a different person with a bulk update. That's pretty much the main things you're kind of going to be doing. The one other thing is just when you're creating a client, it makes sense to kind of take your 15 minutes. It's probably all it's going to take to make a new one. And when you make a new one, you're going to pop right into their settings here, and then you can add their links really quickly. So just by clicking on these arrows, you can go right to that particular thing. So you can click on the arrow to see any milestones. You can check them off when they're done. Just make sure they're set up here. And then when you go into tasks are probably one of the more annoying things to assign typically. In this case though, what you can do is you can pre-do like an AI onboarding scheduler. So if you know roughly how long or roughly what you want to do when you're onboarding a brand new client, you can do things like create a milestone for a kickoff call 1 day from now. And if you make the time relative, then whenever you assign this task, that's the date it uses. So if you're saying 1 day from now, or you could say 1 business day from now, it'll make the milestone for the right time. You can create a 1 hour meeting every Monday, for example, for the rest of this month and next month. So that's like the type of thing that you could have in your template. So then what you do is when you create a task, it pulls in that prompt. And then when you mark it as complete, you can see the Lift AI prompt runs as soon as the task is marked as complete. It'll go ahead and create the milestone for your client, create any onboarding tasks you have for the client, and your client set up. So that's pretty handy to have the AI onboarding scheduler. And then the only other one to think about is the AI, like a recurring scheduler. So this would be something where you want to make sure that you're staying ahead of your clients month by month and you have ongoing work and you can plan that out. So what you do is you just say like you want to assign something every business day for next month. And then on the last business day of next month, that type of thing. So if you run this AI scheduler this month, then all your tasks for whichever client you assign it to they'll all be set up for that client for that entire month. So you can basically have your agency running 1 month ahead all the time with your task assignments. And obviously it's not just assigning to a client, but also to a person. So like your team gets filled up and your clients get filled up pretty early with all of your recurring schedules. So usually it depends on the agency, but often like you might not be able to schedule all of the tasks out. But if you try to get to like 80%, that way when your team pops in the morning, they have their workload and they roughly know what their workload looks like for the day or for the week or whatever. And it makes it a lot easier to be able to slot in any last minute requests you have from the client when you can see the bulk of the work is already scheduled. You just kind of know how the hours are shaping up for the month. So it makes it easier. Yeah. So that's the overview of how you would use Lifted Work in your agency.